Since returning to our screens last month, Poldark has been gathering pace ahead of a dramatic season finale. The BBC One-period drama returned to UK screens with a bang, and Series 4 has been jam-packed full of wrastlings, numerous deaths and a topless Aidan Turner. Just weeks ago we were agonizing over the future of Romelza after Eleanor Tomlinson cheated on her husband. Luckily we were put out of our misery early on in the first episode, but now it all hangs in the balance once again. Fans across the world have been left with a whole new set of questions for the finale of the season, including what will happen in the fifth, and likely final, season of Poldark. The trailer after last week's episode gave away quite a lot already, so if you haven't watched that far yet, warning, there are spoilers ahead. What will happen to Ross and Romelza? Aidan Turner as Ross, Poldark, and Eleanor Tomlinson as Romelza. Image, PA photo, BBC, Mammoth screen. Just like at the end of the last season, we have been left worrying about the future of Ross and Romelza. For much of the fourth season they were separated while Ross was in London, but at the end of the sixth episode he invited her to the capital with him and they looked like a young married couple again, enjoying the pleasures of the city. But Romelza later returned to Cornwall without Ross after a month. Adderley threw a spanner in the works and left the couple's marital bliss in jeopardy. In the trailer for the final episode they are seen together as Romelza pleads with her husband. Since Romelza rarely goes back on a decision, it is likely Ross followed her back to Cornwall, so there is hope for them. Is George going to find out about Valentine's true father? Ada Reid as Elizabeth and Jack Farthing as George Warlegan during filming of Poldark in Charlestown. A lot of the finale trailer is devoted to little Valentine, who has had some key scenes in the past few episodes. First, Ross met him for the first time and saluted, looking at him and his black curls, knowing full well it was the first time he was looking his son in the eyes. Elizabeth wanted to prove to George Valentine was his by having another 8-month baby, and she will be giving birth in the final episode. Tom Hardy wants to escape Stalker, and Cornwall could be the perfect spot. There is no sign of whether it is a boy, the first for George Warlegan, or a girl, but rather the questions over Valentine continue. Elizabeth asks George if he will ever let go of his suspicions, which is likely to refer to what he believes happened between Elizabeth and Ross, and it seems he cannot let it go. Elizabeth and George. When Elizabeth says, "He is your child," we cannot see who she is talking to, but when later in the trailer she says, "Your son is talking to you," while little Valentine is in the frame. It then cuts to George standing outside his carriage. Did they have a fight and he is leaving, saying, "Is he?" doubting Elizabeth, who later says there is nothing she can do to prove he is George's son. Will George and Ross fight or make a truce? Aidan Turner captured in Charlestown for one of the early scenes in the Poldark series. Seems impossible the two would ever get along, and the trailer shows rather the opposite. At the start of the trailer, Ross asks George, "What do you want, George?" and points out he already owns the Poldark family home in Elizabeth, and later says, "You have wealth, power, position," though we cannot see who he is talking to. George is our best guess though, as that is what George always strives for. After Ross jeweled in the last episode, will he try the same with George? Or has he learned his lesson? Will Morwenna get a happy ending? Aussie and Morwenna. Image, BBC. Morwenna has had one of the toughest roles in the fourth season. She went from one nightmare to the next, and even when her husband is finally killed, she is left with an awful mother-in-law. She tells us in the 7th episode how she cannot trust or bear the touch of a man, how she is haunted by her monstrous husband, and how it isn't even allowing her to rekindle things with kind and gentle Drake. But there is a bit of hope for sweet young Morwenna. In the trailer of the finale we see her running through woods at night, hunted by dogs. You would think she is running from her mother-in-law, but surprisingly there is a shot of Tom Hardy chasing her with his dogs. All this doesn't sound hopeful, but speaking to TV Times, Poldark writer Debbie Horsfield said the finale will be a turning point for Morwenna. She said, "There are no quick fixes for someone who's been traumatized as she has, but let's say there's more than a glimmer of hope. Want more news? We've set up a dedicated Facebook group for our celeb and TV content. The Cornwall Celebrity Spotting Group. You'll find the latest showbiz news, gossip, photos and videos from Cornwall Live. Plus there'll be famous sightings in Cornwall and the secret luxury spots loved by some of the county's most famous fans. Find us at Cornwall Celebrity Spotting on Click Join. And you can comment below about what you think lies in store for the finale of Poldark.